Hello. In this video, we're going to talk about Unit 14, which covers the one-way ANOVA test. First, when do we use ANOVA test? We use this test when we want to compare samples from different populations. So, for example, a dean wants to check the consistency of teaching quality among the faculty in one of the departments. A sample of students was obtained from 3 classes taught by 3 different faculty, and their common standardized final exam scores were recorded. Use 10% significance level to test the claim that the teaching quality is consistent among the 3 courses. So we see that these 3 samples, they were collected from different populations. Those are students that took classes with different instructors, but they all took the same test. So we could compare their results. One way to compare the results is to look at their averages. So that's what the ANOVA test does. It compares the averages of samples. So here are our distributions from those 3 samples. So we calculated the means, and we also calculated standard deviations and graphed those results. And these are the results. The results are not very conclusive. Do we have same means? Not exactly, but are they different enough? So here's one situation where it's a definite yes, the means are the same when all of the um, distributions overlap. And in this case, the test statistic F for ANOVA test would equal 0. Now, this is another obvious result where all the means are different. And in this case, our test statistic would be very high, way greater than 0. In our case, it's not exact, right? It could be yes, could be no. So we have to actually conduct a test. So let's talk about this test a little bit. Says ANOVA test is used to test hypothesis that the means of several groups are equal. So basically, your null hypothesis will always be mean 1 equals mean 2 equals mean 3, and so forth. Your alternative hypothesis will always be not all means are the same. One way refers to the fact that there is only one criterion by which the samples are compared, and we're going to use F distribution for this test. So the test statistic F is calculated like this. It's a standard deviation squared between samples divided by the standard deviation squared within samples. The computations for this F statistic are very complicated, very complex. So we're going to use technology in our class to figure out the test statistic. Again, let's talk about the formal procedure. ANOVA test is always a right tail test. Your null always says all means are the same. Your alternative always says at least one of them is different, or not all means are the same. And we will use a p-value approach. We're going to use technology. Okay, so let's go over the requirements. Requirement number 1, all samples are simple, random, and independent. All populations being compared are normal. And number 3, equal population standard deviations. Okay, so when you're doing practice on your homework system, these are the requirements that you need to mark for in order to apply the one-way ANOVA test. And in the next video, I'm gonna actually go over how to solve the problem presented above.